So, you know how this like the Large Hadron Collider, it was just publicized that it was like just it was shutting down until 2030 or something, right? A lot of people don't realize that there's like a whole bunch of these things. They're like actually all over the place. And we focus on the LHC because of like the Goddard tunnel opening and all this kinds of stuff. I don't think that these things are anything like what we think they are. Um, I actually had a friend that was working on them, was an engineer designing the like these big copper coil magnet things that are in these things. And I ran it by him, and he said it was entirely possible. That's could totally be what they're used for. Um, what? Yeah, these things are actually like all over the place, and um, I think what they actually are doing is acting as like shock absorbers for the electricity, the electromagnetism that the world is like emitting. It's like this amplitude, and it's getting stronger all the time. I think that these things are actually like shock absorber isn't the right word. It's like an inductor that is like taking this extra energy off. Because in 2019, in normie science, they called it the Eddy grand solar minimum. It was this phase shift of what they call our like magnetic field. uh, yeah, that the magnetic field is stepping down, which meant that the Earth was getting more radiation. Um, so like from like the realm logic, like that we are like this is the place, like this is the place of the material plane or whatever. I don't believe in space. A lot of people listening to this may or may not, probably disregarding the NASA paradigm, like to some degree. But like there's always cycles in everything, right? There's always cycles that things go through. And when I think about like the old world topic, and I think about uh, the nature of like the old buildings, how they all had these spires. What is that? What is that suffix? Spire. It's like breath, right? So what I think that the old world buildings were doing is a bit of an analog to what these hadron colliders, these giant magnets that are in the Earth. I think that they were uh, like sending electrical potential up into the air because it was dangerous. Like the world goes through these cycles where potential like builds up in the world, and then it has to go out, or else you can get discharges. I think that these discharge events, they get stronger in certain times. I think that's the nature of the cycles. Things like the discussion over the phoenix, all of these things. So all that to say, like if you were just to look at all of the brainwashing over like the last however many number of generations, and programming us how to think and how to think about the world and our relationship to the world, it's always making people essentially feel ineffective, feel like they don't matter. They got to lock in, they got to collectivize for survival. And like to what degree that is true within the environment, within all of these narratives that we all are taught about history, is that like life is nasty, brutish, and short, right? I think that this is specific to this period you would call the Kali Yuga, which is like uh, it's an intensely violent time of destruction, like the god Kali, right? Um, Destruction isn't necessarily a bad thing, but it's not very conducive to human life when the world that you live in is in a state of um, manic depression, but with like electricity. So when I think about like a lot of these religious structures that seem like totally like you gotta lock in, you gotta follow these rules to a T, and you got like the armies of the papacy coming in and all of this stuff or whatever, right? Um, the context that I kind of would put that in, and me personally, I don't believe that any of these big religions are actually that old. I think that we're very much centered. We're our our cognition, like as man, is sandbox to this kind of short period of time. Um, and I think that this relates to the Kali Yuga. Um, so what I think is actually happening now is that they've turned off these colliders. Probably they've all maybe gone off or something, maybe. And what I think that that does is that it makes us unaware of how much we actually affect our environment in what we actually generate in terms of our biofield. Like this is no joke, it's real. Like the electromagnetic field of the body has it has a music to it, and no man is an island. So what we know in our cognition is that this world is like cause and effect is so far removed from our intentions. Like it sounds so namby-pamby, like mind over matter. It sounds frivolous and trivial because it's not how we typically experience the world. But I think that the world was actually experienced highly aware of the cause and effect of a person's mind and a person's, what they amplify into the world. Um, I do very strongly believe that the world is subordinate to mind, and reality is very actually responsive to mind, but it goes in waves. And for the past, like, what, 150, 200 years or something like that, we're highly sandboxed to have very little idea about what was going on before. And I think that this is the big secret about the Kali Yuga. Kali Yuga apparently only has ran for like 1,000 years. I think that this is like the corrected timeline of the Kali Yuga in like the Vedic texts. This period of chaos and destruction and all this, and so we've been sandboxed to have no idea like what was before. And what I think that like the real elites may be doing now is that we were like civilization was like restarted. There was chaos, probably massive war in the past, and like a lot of destruction, and we've all kind of been brought back into civilization or something after this period of just absolute chaos, and we are on our way out of of the Kali Yuga now, basically. And I think what they have done with all of like the negative programming, all of the demoralization and the poisoning and all of this kinds of stuff, um, basically we're at this point now where we've been given the internet for the past like 30 years or whatever. And we're on this gradual process. We're being given the tools to seek what we value, to restructure back the way humanity is supposed to know ourselves, if we choose to. If we choose, um, if we recognize that what our true values are and the way to interact with the world and the way to live and all of these things, if these things start like calling out as the cycle of the field starts to go up and mind is manifesting, that means that we have a lot more information at our disposal, just through what is recorded in the air. Um, I'm sorry if this sounds like insano, whatever, but I know a lot of people are um, going to have some idea about what I'm talking about here. So, what I think what is happening now is that we're in this apocalyptic period, meaning basically everything is becoming unveiled. And so we're getting this massive increase of basically mind power that is coming up in the field. And it is highly interactive. So each one of us going about our business, just running these, crazy loops in our brain, like having these thoughts, thinking that they're just compartmentalized. But I think the nature of this apocalyptic thing is that we're coming into a period where mind, intention, like the music of the biofield is going to be a lot more like if you had a bonfire going on a hot day. Um, like your intentions, your will, um, the music that you are putting out there that we can't really hear or see. Um, this is going to be more like a bonfire on a hot day. It's got a larger perimeter. You can feel the heat further away. So, um, basically, I think that the way that this is set up is that our own intentions, our own thoughts, our will, um, if it's not congruent with the world, like the cause and effect of our intentions is going to be ramping up more and more, and so all of those, all of the chaos and the violence, violent thoughts, resentments, bitterness, all of these things, they go out, they go out the front, and they're finding their way to you in your circumstances. You're locking into phase with situations with other people and just in reality that are resonating with those. And so, um, in a way, there's a certain kind of like divine justice to it. It's going right into the nature of the spirit, and all of your thoughts, your intentions, like your spiritual state, it meets you. You're confronted with it within the reality as the field amplitude is going up. So, I think that is a very, like, it's a win-win. Like, if I'm just crazy and talking absolute nonsense, then it doesn't, like, if you were to operate as if all of your thoughts and all of your intentions had maximum cause and effect, your life would get so much better. Like taking responsibility for your word, to a much greater extent. And, I think that we're just all about to be progressively more caught off guard with the nature of ourselves, basically. And so the world starts looking back at us the way that we look at it. Yeah, and everything that you see, with politics and just the intensive mind control, it's all to make you feel like what you are, what you broadcast doesn't actually matter. You have to, follow whatever, But the truth is, of like the most sacred teachings of all times, are always that um, the world is good when the individuals have the qualities, that make the world good. It's the only way that the world, gets good. So if you start to see that the state of your spiritual self is reflected in the world, it might look like things are getting like worse and worse, and that's gonna like put you into a positive feedback loop of it. When the answer is like, no matter what's going on out there, um like taking responsibility, taking ownership over your thoughts, and your emotions, all of these things, taking ownership over these things, um, is the best course of action, no matter what. It doesn't matter, like, you know, even if you were in a combat situation, you were seeing some horrible thing happening in your neighborhood, from somebody who has no business living there or something. Um, the best thing that you can do, regardless, is to maintain your composure and to keep your head, keep a cool head, even if you're you know punching somebody in the throat or something. You don't lose your temper. It's never anyway. Anger, all these things, they're not a bad thing. It's part of the human spirit, right? But to never let them supersede yourself, to be possessed by these things anyway. So yeah, if you go forward in the world, taking responsibility for your not just your behavior, but your thoughts, your intentions. If you flip that over to wanting good in the world, wanting coherence, truly, instead of like using these things as an excuse to like self-righteously point to people who are like transgressing or something like that, doing bad. No, you have to directly like want the good qualities in the world. It's how it works. So and then you actually end up with more strength to take the things out of the way, as if you were like um uh if a wildcat or something was on the path and you were with your kid. It's like it's you're trying to protect the kid. You don't hate the wildcat necessarily. You're getting the wildcat. You're getting your child out of the way, and if you have to kill that thing, then you have to. But um, yeah, I think that it's a win-win no matter which way you go. Act like everything is becoming more responsive, and yeah, we might get through this. Who knows? But yeah, cheers. Take care.